Da 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 da.
Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it. We test it. You play it. And now it's time to blow off some steam with a boss review. That's right. That's right, folks. I am back from the Never Dead. I know the month of May has been a wee bit quiet, but that's because, well, Sea of Thieves. That took up a lot more gaming time than I expected. It was really that much fun. But anyway, yeah, today's game I'm reviewing is called Children of the Sun. It's weird. It kind of reminds me like a little bit of the Hitman Sniper Challenge games, only or maybe even the Sniper games, but with like some sci-fi telekinetic elements involved. So this is a really interesting game. Now, before I get into the game, I posted a message at the start of this video, or I should have. Um, anyway, this game it may deal with some subject matter that might not be, easy for some people. There's violence, there's blood, there's suggestive themes, use of alcohol and smoking, and of course, well, the whole blood and violence. I'll see if I can try to edit the video. And also there's also flashing lights. I'll try to edit the video to make sure it's watchable here on YouTube. But I have seen other people post videos on YouTube with it uncensored, so I don't know. It's a very weird area, but I just don't want anyone to a be upset by this or b uh, have any problems watching this video. So yeah, this is a game that is definitely in the M for mature category, and we try to make sure that we review videos on here, games on here that we try to review for everybody. So yeah, if the subject matter is uncomfortable for you, or if you have photosensitive issues, please either watch with caution, or if you don't want to watch this, I think I listed on the time counter where it is skips to the end where I give the final score. I also give the final score at the beginning in case you don't want to see the whole thing. If you do watch this, I thank you for watching, and if you do get the game, I hope you enjoy the game. But yeah, so please watch responsibly and or with caution. So now, here's my review for Children of the Sun.
Series.
So Children of the Sun, from what I can tell, is a standalone title. It's not a sequel, prequel, or in-between quel.
Team.
This game is developed by Renee Rother, or Rother, and published by Evolver Digital.
Plot.
The description of the game is you play as the girl, and your life was ruined by a cult called the Children of the Sun. After using your telekinetic powers to escape, as the girl, you are armed with a sniper rifle with only one bullet. That's all you need. And your mission is to take down the cult. Every member that's part of the cult, all in your quest to find and deal with the leader. So it is it's a revenge plot game.
Gameplay controls.
The gameplay is listed as third-person shooter puzzler. So basically, it also says that this game can be played with certain controllers, but honestly, the whole game can be played just using your mouse. So you move the girl around. Sometimes she has a limited space. Sometimes she has a 360-degree circle she can go around. It depends on the location. But you move. You then can switch to sniper mode, where you then can look at your targets. You can zoom in and out, mark the targets. You can mark areas of interest, or you can cancel. So the control is that you have bullet telekinesis. You fire one bullet. It flies, and if it hits like a target, then the bullet ricochets, and you can direct it in another direction. And as you play through the game, you gain abilities like the ability to curve the trajectory of the bullet, gain the ability to speed up the bullet to pierce through armored enemies, or even or if an enemy is someplace that it's hard to reach, you can have the bullet fly a direction and then quickly change it whichever direction it's going. Because as the game progresses, the enemies start to get smarter, moving, harder to reach locations, and even armored up. Because they realize they're dealing with a foe that is being smarter than them, is able to take them out one by one or in group shots. So yeah, interesting control setup.
Graphics.
I guess the gameplay, I'd say, reminds me a little bit of, I don't know, the PlayStation 2 era? Yeah, so, like, you don't see a lot of details for the character, for the targets. They're just marked in a way where you symbolize you know who the target is. Sometimes the trees have a pixelated effect for the branches, but there's one cool area where I was in a town, and the signs were changing, but this, like, they would say something, and then it would switch to some other text. I guess this is a psychological viewpoint of the main character. It's kind of like it reminds me of an aspect from one of the Batman Arkham games. I won't spoil it, but for those of you who know, you know. Yeah, so the game, yeah, I guess it looks along the lines of a PlayStation 2 era game, but it does a pretty good job conveying it. It doesn't have to be like overly detailed. And in between some of the missions, you do get an illustrated cutscene describing the backstory of what's happened in the game leading up to this point.
Audio.
There's no real audio in the game. Like from what I was playing, there's like no verbal text given, and it's like this very angry, jagged musical score to describe the situation and what's going on. And here's an interesting thing: when your character's moving around, you hear like this string strumming, bum 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 bum, to illustrate the foot walking. So it kind of reminded me of like when Sly Cooper is sneaking around. But yeah, the music is very very raw, very edgy, and the sound effect is the bullet whizzing through the air, the explosions going off when it hits the target, and when like an explosion goes off. So there is a limited musical score, no audio, and a series of effects based on the gameplay.
Multiplayer.
No, there is no multiplayer.
DLC.
No, there is no DLC.
Issues.
From a technical standpoint, no, there's nothing wrong with the game. However, there are a few factors that I think that they need to address with this game. Starters, there's some levels that have like a subtitle, and you have to like do a certain requirements, but it doesn't give a clear description. Like, I'll give one. One said a bird's eye view. There were two birds in the level. I took out one of them, and then took out everyone else, but it didn't register. Only when I took out both birds did it say bird's eye view. So sometimes it's a little unclear on what the specifics are. It would help with a little more directive narrative context. Secondly, the game insists on replay value because there is there's a leaderboard, and you try to get the highest score in online. It depends on like how long you play the level and how long it takes to do things and how much of a multiplier you build up. Another factor is how, let's say you learn about something at level 10 in the game. You can't go back to level 5 and use that. No, it's basically the skills you learn, you can only use them from that point later on in the game. Also, there were two levels that I had played. One was not really a level, more like just a walkthrough to provide some background narrative. Not, I know I was asking for that earlier, but this level just seemed a little odd to have that. And then there was a previous level where it had the bright flashing lights, and it was like a weird maze running minigame. It was a little confusing at first, but then once I figured out what to do, it made more sense. But it was just a weird little break from the game. It didn't feel like it fit in there. It just felt weird, or maybe the fact that it was so weird it kind of goes along with the theme of the game. Anyway, yeah. So there's some levels in the game that just feel out of sorts with the rest of the game. So yeah, there's a couple of nitpicks to the game design and how it's played out, but overall the game plays well.
Buy, rent, or pass.
Yeah, the game, it has weird moments here and there, but like I said, as a fan of I played the Hitman Sniper Challenge, so that was kind of the vibe I was getting from this. I thought it was interesting, and I mean, the game looked interesting enough for me to get it, so I'd say this is a buy.
Overall score.
Now, this game, it's a little weird. Interesting way of presenting the narrative. Has a very edgy look and sound and feel to it. And it does deal with topics, violence, blood, and the cult, which might be a little off-putting for some players. So, if these are not your things, then, well, I thank you for taking the time to watch this video to learn more about this product. If you didn't watch the whole thing, or if you skipped it, well, if you skipped it, then you're not listening to this part. But if you did watch the whole thing, and if you're at this part, I thank you for your time. Just want to let you know that we here at Aperture Games, we give Children of the Sun an 8 out of 10. And this is like a low 8, because like if there's any technical problems with this, or maybe if the narrative got even more muddled up, it would have been in the 7s score range. Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting game mechanic with being able to alter how the bullet works in trajectory or flight or ricocheting or whatever. And the fact that you can actually play this game just using the mouse, that's impressive. But yeah, so it's not the perfect game. It needs a little spit and polish here and there, but it's good for what you got. Well, anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. I thank you for tuning in and watching, and I'm glad we got a chance to blow off some steam with this B.O.S. review. Until next time, this is Test Subject 1337 for Aperture Gaming saying thank you for watching, game on, and have a nice day.